Hey everyone, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thanks for joining me today on this Sunday. I'm very late in filming. I'll explain that later. And I'm also looking a little bit rough. I'll also explain that later. But thanks for joining me for my combo Flosstube, WIP Parade, and plans video. I figured I would just kind of combine them all into one video because I don't have a ton of WIPs, although I do have more than I thought I did as I have been collecting them all. And these are all of my craft WIPs, not just my stitching ones. So yeah, you're going to be seeing weaving, quilting, and stitching today. And some experiments and some birthday gifts. My birthday was last week. And a little bit of haul, but not too much. But before we get to that, I want to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures. And welcome back to anyone who has been hanging out with me for however long you've been with me. It's been great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy. And I'll put that there. And that's where I post pictures of my stitching and my life and all sorts of other things. And you can also find me at The Spoolery. Both of them should be here. And that's where I post pictures of my obsession with vintage wooden spools. I assume that most people in my normal life don't actually want to be spammed with vintage wooden spool images, but if you are interested in that, you should follow me there too. So that's where I post a lot. This is a channel about embroidery and cross stitch and other textile crafts and baking and history and the history of all of those things. So if any of that is interesting to you and you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe and stick around. It's Sunday. It's Sunday, January 2nd, 2021. I had planned on filming on Friday, but my semester is starting next week. Asterisks. I'll get to that later too. And I was not prepared. So I was basically working on Friday. I spent a couple hours stitching with some stitchy friends. And then, but the rest of the day I was like working, getting my classes organized and stuff. For those of you who are new, I'm a medieval history professor. And so I, have to plan for my classes this semester. Found out on Friday afternoon that they have decided to postpone the beginning of classes until January 18th. They were supposed to start on Thursday, the 6th. Now they're starting on the 18th. We get off for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so it's the Tuesday after that, which aligns with all the other universities in the area. So I have a bit of a breather. It was like a snow day, like when you're a kid and it's like, and you haven't like done your work and you get a snow day. That's how I felt. So I have some time to get everything organized. It'll be really nice. And our semester is reduced by 1 week. So I'm actually kind of glad I procrastinated because it would have been a lot of work to reorganize that 1 week. So then I'm like, okay, well then I'll film on Saturday. Well, Saturday was yesterday and we had tornadoes. Well, we had tornado warnings. And so I spent a good bit of time in my hallway, which is where we go when there are tornadoes. It was 84 degrees yesterday, which is very warm for here. We're usually in the 50s, 40s and 50s at the beginning of January, maybe 60s, but definitely not in the 80s, which is like 28 degrees. 84 is like 28 or 29 degrees Celsius. And so when we have hot weather like that, that is ripe for tornadoes. So I didn't film yesterday because I was in my hallway. We didn't have a tornado touchdown, although a circular cloud, a circular rotation went right over our town, but it did not touch down, thank goodness. I think this is going to be a longer than normal video, but not too long, I don't think. And I'm going to kind of lightly edit it just because I want to stitch on things. I have a couple things I want to finish. Well, I have a thing I want to finish today, which I'll show you in a minute. And I have a couple things I want to start and organize today. So I don't want to spend time editing. And I already look like this because I walked the dog this morning and it was just misting. It was that mist that's not rain, but it's not fog. It's like and so it just makes your hair look terrible. So you're just getting me like this. I don't have my ring light. I am wearing these are my normal glasses that I wear on a daily basis. Since I don't have my ring light, there's no glare. My hair is a mess. I'm just wearing a t-shirt that I walked the dog in. Welcome to 2022, people. All right, so I think I want to start with my, I'm going to kind of go backwards, I think. I'm going to start with my gifts and my Stitchy Kindness and my haul. and then go on to my WIP Parade, which will be a combo Flosstube WIP Parade, and then talk about plans at the end. That's how this video is going to go today. So first I want to talk about the gifts that I got. I got some gifts from my mom for Christmas, and I got some gifts from my fiance for my birthday since last time we spoke. And my mom gave me a knitted shawl. This is called the L'Envelope. Actually, why don't I put it on and then I will look more put together. And it's very elegant. Oh, look, I already look more elegant. I love it. I love this so much. She made it for herself, but found that she wasn't really wearing it. And it is one sleeve, and then this is like a cape. And it has a point at the bottom. Oh, that's so much. I look so much more elegant already. Thanks, Mom, for making me look more elegant. So this was a gift from my mom. Like I said, she made it for herself, but she never wore it. And I said, if you're looking for nitty things to like give me for Christmas, I would love a l'envelope. And she was like, do you want a red one? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I do want a red one. So I have red one. So this was from my mom, along with some scissors, which I think I showed you them. I think I may have actually showed you this as well. I don't remember. But this was for Christmas. And then for my birthday, my husband got me, I'm very excited. I'm so fancy now. Some Saju scissors. How beautiful are those scissors? And I don't know if you can see, but they have little suns on them. Because I'm in sunshine, he said. So that's nice. So he gave me that. And he gave me some Saju embroidery needles, which I've never used before. So I'm excited to try these out. These are a brand I've never tried. He got me a tiny little sewing kit because he knows I collect sewing kits. And I don't know if you can see, but it has some stuff in it. So a tiny little sewing kit and a pincushion that I'm already using. And this pincushion is fantastic because it has a very open weave fabric on it. And so what's it called? So the needles just slide in really nicely, as opposed to my other pincushion, which I've already thrown away. I've like spilled coffee on it. Like I got it at Joann's when I first started stitching. But that one, the needles had to like punch through. It was not good. I'm sure it dulled them. So this one is much nicer. So that is my gifts from my husband. And then I got a surprise Happy Mail gift from my friend Deanna. And she got me a magnet. Hilarious. It says, our book club is reading Jane Austen next week. Dude, seriously, I love her. Knew you would be jealous. It's like a truck stop. I love this so much. So thank you, Deanna, so much. I will put this on my fridge as soon as I am at my fridge again. I'll put it there. But I love this so much. Thank you. And I will be putting in like pictures and stuff at various times. And if I blather on too much, I'll also be cutting it out, but not my normal editing situation. I just don't have time for that. And then I got some Happy Mail. My friend Trish, Stitcher Trish, sent me her copy of Strutting Tom by Lindy Stitches. I saw Michelle G. Bendy Stitchy stitching this, I don't know, last year or something. Or maybe she was destashing it. I don't know. But I saw this and I loved it. And I'm not like a Thanksgiving person. That's not a great holiday for me. I talked about Thanksgiving last Thanksgiving, like in November. And so if you saw that, you understand why. But turkeys don't have to be Thanksgiving. Turkeys can also be like Christmas. And that is a fantastic turkey. I love it. So thank you, Trish. Stitcher Trish has a Flosstube. I'll link her down below. And I was also part of 2 Secret Santas this year. One of them you already saw. I got it pretty early. In fact, I got it, early December. And it was that gorgeous ornament / coaster. It was amazing. But I got my second one today, or not today. I got my second one since I got back. No, it must have been before I left. Anyway, I got my second one, and it was this beautiful framed cross stitch that says kindness is free with animals and birds. I do love birds. So I thought that was beautiful. And I can't find the card at the moment. And this is just such a wonderful gift. So I think I'm going to put this in my office, my home office, not my work office, but my home office. I think that this will fit with the decor pretty well. So we'll put that in there. I did purchase a few things. Not a ton, actually, surprisingly. Well, I purchased a bunch of things, but not stitching related. Not that anyone would care to see. I did buy 2 new Nurge hoops. I'm pretty sure these are Nurge hoops. Yeah. Because I freed up a couple of them. This one I freed up from my Jacobean crewel work. But because it has been in the hoop for so long, it's been in the hoop for almost a year, and I never loosen it, it has actually warped the hoop. So I had to replace it. So if you put it exactly correct, you have a good seal. But if you don't put it exactly correct, you do not have a good seal. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. You can see right through it. That's not good. So this is basically not actually useful anymore. And I have learned my lesson. So the lesson, kids, welcome to my TED Talk. The lesson, kids, is to take your pieces out of your hoops because it will, in fact, damage the hoop. Who knew? And these aren't like cheap hoops. These are like, I buy them just for stitching, and then I finish in these kind of cheaper hoops just because, you know, these aren't very cheap. So this I'm going to be using for finishing at some point, and I'll just hang it up here. And it'll just be used for finishing, which is kind of a bummer, but that's the way it is. Oh, I got my Color and Cotton December Thread Club. And I get the All Colors 5 skeins. So let's see what we have here. They're very pretty. They are Red Fox, Cloves, Prussian Blue. Whenever I hear Prussian Blue, I think of Bob Ross because he always used Prussian Blue and a alizarin crimson. Phthalo Blue too. Anyway, Tusk, which is a white. Does it have like a variegation? No, it's basically just white. Oh, it does. It has little beigey pieces in it to make it not quite white, but it's basically a white. And Sweet Basil, which is a very Christmassy green. It's like a very green. So those are my 5 December colors. I think I'm going to cancel that for this year. I have plenty of flosses around me, and I love getting them, and I love using them when I use them, but I haven't really been using them much. So I'm going to cancel that, I think. And then finally, I bought myself a frame loom. I'm so excited. So this was a loom that I got at Michael's. I had a coupon. It was like $20. I figured I want to play around with weaving on a frame loom instead of, you know, I've been doing circular weaving, but I wanted to play around with a frame loom, and they had one at Michael's, and I had a coupon, and it was $20, basically. So I couldn't leave it there. And it comes with the loom itself and a comb and a needle and a 4-color project book. I don't know what a 4-color project book is, but no, 3 projects in this booklet. So there's the booklet. So anyway, I'm going to try that out this week. Put that together this week and try it out. I'm also going to set up my new silhouette cutter this week. I finished my ornament every year. Well, i.e. this year and last year. I've taken my orts for the year and put them in a just a plastic Christmas ball, and then I put it up on my tree. So this I'm going to cut out in vinyl 2021 and put that on my tree, and I'm very pleased with that. So that has been completed as well. All right, folks, let's get into this WIP parade. I am going to be putting things away as I go. So if I'm bending over, it's because I'm putting things away. Otherwise, I will just end up with flotsam all around me, and it will take forever to get it cleaned up. So I am keeping this here in order to put things away. Let's start with the project I'm closest to finishing. And this is what I want to finish by today. And that is my temperature library from 2021. This is my embroidery temperature library that I designed. And I have a cross-stitch version for 2021 that looks just like this. Here's a picture of that. And I have a cross-stitch version for 2022 that's up that looks like that. And I've just posted my embroidery version for 2022 that looks like this. And I'm stitching the embroidery version. So this one, I stitched every book is in satin stitch. I decided I needed to practice my satin stitch, and so I decided to do every book in satin stitch. My 2022 library, I plan on doing in all sorts of different stitches. In fact, I plan on doing a different stitch every day, and I have a hashtag for it. It's the hashtag 365 stitch project. I'll put that right here. I have a link to my Google Sheet down below that has, at the moment, a list of about 185-ish stitches that I want to try. They're both counted and non-counted, but I haven't assigned them to days yet, so I need to do that today. But if you want to follow along, then you can follow that hashtag, or you can just follow me on Instagram, and I will, I'll post pictures and updates and that kind of a thing. So anyway, this is so close to being done. I just have this shelf to do here, and then I have the base to do, and then this is done. I was hoping to have it done before I filmed again, but it just wasn't happening. It wasn't going as fast as I hoped, but I can show you this, and then for next time it'll be done, and that's very exciting. So there's that. One of my plans for today is to trace out the design for that. I also have a drinks shelf project, which looks like this. It's a temperature drinks shelf, and each drink is a day. And I'm going to be cross-stitching that. I only have that available in cross-stitch, and I'm going to be cross-stitching that. And I was talking to Chevis of the Chevy Rell podcast, Chevy Rell Stuff podcast, Chevy Rell's podcast. She has a knitting podcast, but she was one of the inspirations for this pattern. And we were talking about patterns with highs and lows. And I said, you could just do like the glass in the low temperature for the day and the drink in the high temperature for the day, or the opposite, depending on what you are interested in. And then I was thinking about that, and I'm like, man, that's a really good idea, Christy. You should do that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the drinks shelf, and I'm going to do the what's it called? The glass in the low temperature, and the drink, the liquid, in the high temperature. So if anyone else has this and wants to join me in doing that, you're welcome to do that with me. Oh, and the hashtag for that is Stitch the Temp Sal. I just used the same hashtag that I used last year for temperature patterns, and it is not exclusive to my temperature patterns. Anyone who's doing any temperature pattern, I would love to see what you're doing. Stitch the Temp Sal. Pam from Stitching the Land of Good Enough started that last year. All right, my next WIP is, these are in no order. These are in the order that they're in my basket, so they're in no order. My second WIP I want to talk about is my Lindy Stitches Hedgehog House quilt. And it is from, this is all my stuff, the Lindy Stitches Hedgehog House cross stitch pattern. And I'm quilting basically the hedgehog and a flower, one of these flowers, but I'm doing the flowers in red instead of pink, because I'm going to hang it over here, and it's going to match I have a red couch right here, so it's going to go over that. And this is a picture of all the pieces laid out right after I cut them. I have sewn together all the rows. So I have like 20 rows, 22 rows or something that are all pieced. And then I just have to sew those rows to each other to finish out the front. I'd hoped to have it done by the end of the year, but that just did not happen. I got very little crafting done when I was away. You always think you're going to get more crafting done when you're away than you do. It's weird. I was thinking that I might stitch this also as like a tag, like a quilt tag, quilt label, but I'm not sure that I will. So this is what that looks like at the moment. I'm hand piecing it, and I feel like I'm in the home stretch. And now that I'm not aiming for a finish at any particular time, I don't have to stress about it. All right. My next WIP is in a bag from Forever Us Needlecraft, which is Citra Trish's Etsy shop. And this is a landscape that I'm doing, and I have not picked it up in ages. This is where I am, and this is the picture that it's going to eventually look like. So I really need to pick this up. I got distracted by other things in December, and so this didn't come out again. But it's just stitched in various flosses that seemed like good matches to the colors in the picture. So I look forward, I want to do that again. I really enjoy doing stitched landscapes, but I think I've been so stressed out, and they do take quite a lot of thought, that I haven't wanted to work on it. I'm hoping that with the extra 2 weeks until school starts, that I will feel less stressed out and more inclined to stitch on things that aren't pre-planned. Because the nice thing about cross stitch is that it's pre-planned. You do all the thinking ahead of time. But with embroidery, at least the kind of embroidery that I do, it's like constantly thinking. My next WIP is my Forbidden Fiber Co. Yule Ball Mystery Stitch Along, which was Michelle Garrett Benny Stitchy's design. This is how far I've gotten. I'm at about 60 some odd percent. So I've had to frog a few things. It hasn't gone quite to plan, but it's really adorable. However, I'm feeling like I'm going to put this away until next December. And then I will pick it up and hopefully finish it then. So I'm going to seasonally stitch this one. And that is using, this is on an 18 count Zweigart Ada Opalescent in the color Mythical. So that's that. That's the fabric. And then the flosses are all the Forbidden Fiber Co. And black. It needs a black, just a black color. So these are all the different colors, and they're great. The colors are great. So that is a project that is going to go away until next year. And I think I have to be okay with that. I'm not used to having this many projects on the go at one time. And so putting things away and planning for them is not something that I'm used to. But I do think I got some project trackers from my Black Needle Society resolution stitching box from S. Ward Designs that I showed several months ago. And I think I'm going to throw one in here. I think I need to start actually tracking those things. Next is my New Year, New Start. And it is Modern Folk Embroidery, The River. Speaking of Black Needle Society Resolution Stitching Box, this was in that. And this is in a Black Needle Society Cozy Stitching box. I don't know. This was a gift from Jody at Trixie Tricycle, who I'll link down below. She gifted me this and another project bag that she got out of those boxes. And it's staying in here. So this is my New Year, New Start. And this is in honor of, well, this is a commemoration of my wedding. I was married on September 5th, 2021. So 4 months ago. And so my goal is to have this stitched by my first anniversary. This is also a bit of an experiment. So I am stitching it on an 18 count Ada in DeVere Yarns Old Gold 72 weight silk, which is very shiny. And this is also the exact same color as I used on my wedding bouquet. I'll put a picture of that flower right here so you can see it. This is dyed using some lace that my Italian cousins gave us for our wedding. And it's dyed using, it's more developed. It's dyed using an old photography technique. So I showed this on Instagram yesterday and people were super excited about it and wanted a tutorial, but I'm not ready to do that yet. I still need way more experiments with this to see what will happen. But basically it is UV reactant. And I'll show you, I did a couple experiments before I went to the actual piece. And this one, it exposed for a very long time. And I kind of had it in I have a UV light box basically. And I moved a piece of cardboard down and exposed it. But it was too close, like the light was too close to the fabric and I left it in too long. I mean, if you're going for like a dark blue, then it's great. But if you're going for a light blue, it's not great. However, that looks really cool and I might stitch something on it. I don't know what, but I might stitch something on that. So then I did some more, I did some more experiments. And I used, this is just a piece of scrap linen, not stitchy linen, just like yardage linen that I had. And so I did it for 7.5 minutes, 6 minutes, and 4.5 minutes, just to see what the exposure would be. And I went with 6 minutes for my piece. So these are the experiments that I'm doing. I want to play around with different chemicals that will change the color. Like the chemicals that I use to develop it will react with other chemicals and change it into like a yellow. And I think it's something you can get like kind of like a browny purple. I need to play around with it. So there may be a tutorial forthcoming for how to develop your fabric or paper. You can do it on paper too. But for now, I have the top border done and I counted that border 4 or 5 times before I stopped because I don't want to grid this. I normally have to grid all of my stitching just because I lose count really easily. I have real trouble counting, which is why my main craft is embroidery, like freehand embroidery, because you don't have to be perfect. And so I recounted this multiple times just to make sure. So now I can be confident that this is correct, that this is the top border. I cut it pretty close. I have 1 inch on each side and I should have 2 inches on the top and the bottom. But if not, I don't know what I'm going to do because normally I would just be like, oh, I'll just add some on to the end. But I think that this is, I'd have to start over, obviously. So this is my wedding sampler. The River by Modern Folk Embroidery. Oh, and the Ada is just like Ada from a tube that I got at Michael's. This one is going to be FFO'd, at least for now, and I'm going to repurpose this bag. So it's just in like a plastic zipper bag. But this is my Peppermint Purple Blackwork Stitch Along. It was supposed to be a yearly stitch along, and I think I got to April. I really enjoyed doing it, but I think that there are just so many other things I'd rather be stitching. And so this one just kind of got shoved in a corner and I never worked on it. And I think it's going to be UFO'd. I'm going to repurpose the bag, or I may even keep it in the bag. But, oh, well, no, it has to be UFO'd because I did not sign up to get, I don't know what the designs are anymore. I stopped paying attention and I think that they went away. But this was on a 14 count black Ada and the stitching was in some Bestitch Me silks. The inside is called Happy, which is this great variegated, and the outline is in Dying for Cross Stitch, this bright green silk. This was an unnamed silk that was like a Halloween colorway in 2020. So that's what I was doing, but I think I'm gonna put these back on my wall and I'm not gonna frog it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, because I'm thinking, oh, well, I can cut it up into little pieces and make something out of little pieces, but those little pieces are all kind of attached to each other in various ways. So I just don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'm not going to unpick it though. That's for sure. This is just Ada that I got at Joann's in a tube, so I'm not going to do that. So that is a UFO. This is the other bag that Jody from Trixie Tricycle gave me from the October box. What's it called? Black Needle Society box. And it is Thriller. And I mentioned this before. And this is housing my Haid. So there was a bet as to when I would start a new Haid, and I obliged by looking at Haid patterns, and I found this one, which is the Lady in the Unicorn Desire. There is a stitch along, a medieval stitch along that I and Jessica from the Rainy Day Stitcher are hosting called Party Like It's $13.99 Sal. I'll put that here, and I'll link Jessica's Flosstube down below. But this is my start. Look at that. It is one color. And I start at the top right. I stitch in hand, so I'm starting at the top right. I want to go all the way across the top because I want to know where I can cut it. I did cut off the bottom, but I want to, cut off the top at the right place. So I had to get a yard of fabric. This is a 20 count Ivory Ada from 123 Stitch. And I'm stitching it 2/1. It's going to be a thick boy. And so far, I think it's good. But I only bought 3 colors so far. Because the background doesn't actually have that many colors in it. And so I'm just going to work on the background until I get really comfortable, until I kind of know where I am, and then I'll dig into more colors. I'm not going to color complete, but I am definitely not going to do like the 10 by 10 square thing, like filling in 10 by 10 squares, or even filling in, it's all on Pattern Keeper, so I don't have pages, or I'm avoiding pages. So I'm just going to kind of go how it feels comfortable to me. But that is my Haid start. And I think I started to say this. There was a bet as to when I would start my first Haid. And Natasha won. So congratulations, Natasha. She won. I don't even know. I'm not providing the prizes. My friend Jennifer is providing the prizes. So I think it's like a nice fabric pack, which is really fun. So that's good. All right. My next WIP is an embroidery WIP. And those of you who've been with me for a while know her and love her. This is Hildegard of Bingen's Cosmic Egg, and I have already stitched this, and so I'm stitching it again for myself. And in fact, I think I need to replace this hoop, because this hoop is one of the ones that kind of got bent. Got distorted too. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. And here is where I am. I have the middle done, but it was the start. I started this, I think, on January 1st. I'll have to check. This is why I need to use those cards so I can give you more information. It is being stitched on just a natural linen cotton blend. It's embroidery, so it's not counted. And I'm doing it in all sorts of colors based on the color. So it's not just a single designer, a single dyer. It's DMC, it's dyeing for cross stitch, it's coloring cotton. It's kind of like whatever I found that I thought fit the colors in the picture. And I'm storing this. I keep it in my matte bag, which I love. Oh, here are all the flosses for my for my temperature patterns. I refilled all my flosses, and I just need to redo my temperature table to account for low temperatures. This is, I think, a UFO, or maybe it'll get done at some point, but I'm just doing a cute little embroidery on a bag. It would take no time to finish this. Maybe I should just finish it. This is from Penguin and Fish. It is herbs. If I can find a picture, I'll post a picture here. But it's just an herb garden, and I decided to put it on a little bag, a little kind of muslin bag. It's a very thin bag. I don't know what I would use the bag for, but I'm going to leave it in. I'm not going to take it into my workspace. I'm going to leave it in here. UFO'd for the moment. I have a weaving WIP. This is a circular woven piece that I'm working on. This was inspired by my friend Valerie, who sent me all sorts of hand spun yarns to weave with, and she either dyed or spun this, here it is, this right here. And so this was the inspiration for the color scheme, and it's gorgeous. So this is, I can only work on this in this space because this is where all my materials are. So this is definitely going to get worked on and finished, but not go with me. Now we're getting into some old ones that some of you have probably never seen. I mean, some of you have probably never seen some of the other ones too. This one, oh, this one I ripped out. So all I have in this one is an outline and a needle minder. I wondered where this needle minder had gotten to. But this is going to be a bee and what's it called? Honeycomb. A bee and honeycomb. So I'm going to try and stitch that bee and the honeycomb, but I was using a silk that wasn't working well. So I think I'm going to do it in a cotton because cotton is easy, and I'm going to start this over again. And it will be lined. I kept thinking it was going to be lined in this, but I think that I won't. We'll see. We'll see what I want to do. I have other bee fabric now than when I started, so I may switch that out. That's way brighter than I was thinking. And like I said, I have other bee fabric now that I think would work just as well. This is in a cork bag that I made. I love cork bags, and I think I'm going to have to make more cork bags. And I think I might, since cork is so stiff, I might make them like a box at the bottom, like a box bag, just to hold things better. And last but not least, this also I had to take out so you won't see anything. But this one, I have this scarf. This is a linen scarf that I made. And I plan on embroidering little archers from the Bayou Tapestry. If I can find a picture, I'll put them right here. And I have all of the, well, I was doing it in DMC. But since then, I've gotten a bunch of wool that I think I will use instead. Because I think wool on linen would just be lovely. And I don't really want it shiny. DMC is a little bit shinier than I want. So I think that, well, I had to restart it. And I had to and I just decided to cut it off. Like I couldn't get it to work how I wanted. So I had to cut it off and re-tassel the end, which took a while and kind of sucked the joy out of it. So I am going to restart this, and it shouldn't take very long. It's just like a line drawing. It shouldn't take very long at all. I just have to do it. It's like the story of my life. I just have to do it. Oh, and there are my good scissors. This is what happens when you put scissors in project bags, is that you then drop the project and, and then forget you have the scissors. All right. So that is in that bag. And that's all of my whips, which is very exciting. I don't know how many whips that was. As I'm editing this, I'll put a number up. Right here. This is how many whips it was. So some of these are staying out here and they're being UFO'd. Some of them are staying out here because that's where I work on them. And some of them are staying out here because that is where I need to like hit them up better. And then I have this bag of bags to go with me back to my stitchy space. Let's talk about my plans, my immediate plans, my 2022 plans. Obviously, my immediate plan is to finish my temperature library from last year. My other immediate plans is to start both of my temperature libraries for this year, which means that for the bookcase, I have to transfer it. We'll have to choose the fabric and transfer it onto the fabric and get that like framed up. For my drink shelf, I have to choose the fabric, but I don't have to get it kitted up or anything because I have all of that already. They're all kind of going together. I am going to change my temperature table to reflect, well, you know, I'm more experienced now with creating temperature tables. And so I'm going to create a new temperature table for my area that also includes low temperatures. So it goes down probably about 15 degrees from where it was before. My temperature table starts at 40 and below. I think I'm going to do 25 and below because We rarely go below 25, but sometimes we do. So I want maybe 28 and below. So I want that to be an option. Yeah, so I need to kind of make that happen. As I said, I want to, well, I'm a product stitcher, so I expect to finish every WIP that I plan on finishing by the end of the year, except for the Haid. Everything else, I'm planning on finishing it. I'm also planning on experimenting with more developing of fabrics and sort of how I can play around with that. I plan on playing around with weaving. I do want to focus a bit more on my embroidery as opposed to my cross stitch, just because I keep seeing people on Instagram with amazing embroideries, and I'm like, it makes me sad that I'm not doing that anymore. So that's important to me. I also, on the other hand, I do actually have 3 cross stitch designs that I'm playing around with. One of them's already designed, and then and the other 2 are already planned out. I just have to put them in the program and kind of finagle them so that they work. I have a lot going on. I also am starting to teach in person again. Well, I'm assuming that we're going to go back to in person, and which means that my time won't be as flexible, because I will have to be on campus 4 days a week, as opposed to when I was teaching fully online. It was a lot of work, but I could do that work whenever I wanted. I didn't have to worry about being on campus. So that is going to change up my schedule. I don't teach on Fridays, so I still plan on filming on Fridays. But I don't know what those videos are going to look like. I think it's mostly going to be Flosstube, just because Flosstubes are quick. I may add other videos during the week, but I don't want to commit to that. But my goal is once a week. My goal is definitely once a week, at least once a week. I don't know. I guess I don't really have plans. I have my planner that I got from the Black Needle Society, but I haven't started planning yet. So I don't really have plans yet, other than the stuff I've already started. But my goal is to kind of put my ideas in here, and then that'll give me something to, give me something to work on. I am already planning my 2023 temperature pattern, and I'm so excited. It's a high-low or just high temperature. You can do either, but it's so cute. I'm so excited. So that'll come out much later in the year, probably September or October, and so you can keep an eye out for that if you're interested. I'll also have another bookshelf, because I want an entire library of books. I just find that delightful. So I will also design a 2023 temperature bookshelf as well that I'll stitch to. But I'm pretty pleased. And thank you all so much for your support of my temperature patterns. I've been overwhelmed in the past couple of weeks with people buying them and posting your finishes on Instagram and your starts on Instagram. I've been trying to catch them all and share them to my stories if I could, because some people I can't share to stories, but I've been trying to catch them. But if I missed it, tag me in it, and I'll share it, because they're so gorgeous. And the amazing thing is that they're all so different. People pick different colors, but even if you had the exact same colors, because it's your own temperature, it is a completely different product, which is amazing. And this year I have some people in the Southern Hemisphere who are doing it, so it'll be opposite. I don't know. I'm super excited. I'm so excited to see your stitching, and I really appreciate those of you who tag me or use the hashtag #StitchTheTempSal. It's fantastic. I'm so excited. Oh shoot, I also got some floss drops, but they're not here. I'll have to show them next time. If anybody wants floss drops from me, I have Creepy Baby floss drops. And if anybody wants any Creepy Baby floss drops, let me know and I will send them to you. And I also have the winner for the giveaway, the thread winder, and Deb. I haven't sent them out yet. I will send them out this is from 2 weeks ago, but I'll send them out this coming week. Last week was kind of was very busy and yet also not busy. It was very strange. And finally, I want to thank everyone who hung out with me on my birthday. My birthday was last Tuesday, and I had a Stitchy Zoom, and it was great because I got to talk to people in real time that I watched their videos, or we chat on Instagram. but you don't really get to like talk to. So it was like so nice to hang out with you all. I'm not going to name everybody, and I didn't take a picture, so I can't show that, but I appreciate you all hanging out with me. It meant a lot to me. As an extrovert in COVID, having virtual chatting with people is kind of saving me still, because we're back in lockdown again because of Omicron. And, you know, this community is amazing. I appreciate you all very much. So thank you all for hanging out with me for my birthday. It was much, much, much appreciated. And I think, oh, I have a song for you. I have a musical interlude, because in honor of Betty White, I wish I'd done this in the beginning. My throat's all raw now. I have the media watching tendencies of a 85-year-old woman. So I watch cozy mysteries, like Agatha Christie's my jam. Give me a little Ms. Marple and Poirot. Give me Columbo. Give me Murder, She Wrote. Like, I love all that stuff. So I used to watch the Golden Girls a lot. I love the Golden Girls. And Betty White dying, she was a treasure. So in honor of Betty, I want to say, thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend. So thank you all for being my friends, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Happy New Year. Please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.